Awesome. Instagram, go live. You working? You working? All right. Yeah. No, I didn't tell you anything.
No, I said, you do the check.
Oh, me do the check?
You do the check.
One. We just do the mic check. Thank you. Run the stuff, DJ.
Use your IG.
It's not an iPhone. No.
Oh, I have to select go live somewhere else. So copy the stream key and the stream select go live once the streamer. Where's the go live option? I don't remember that. Pop up. I've done it before, you know. I know.
Where's the streaming from?
Over here.
IG.
Right here, the IG one. You are live. Yeah, but I have to click or something. I have to click here. Oh, I've done it before. I thought it would pop up with the option for go live. Now it's going to give me the stream feed. I got to change it. Please tell me the same stream key. Oh, come on. Everywhere. I might have to turn off the here and turn back on. Alright, so I remove Instagram from the stream. Okay, add back Instagram. And then I'm going to try and get it done. Alright, so now I added Instagram. Here is going to try and connect. Oh, so the go live button number. That's why. So it should show up here and then I can go live up here. See there? Go live. So now I'm going to go live. And then you should see it go live.
Yep.
And then I wanted to try and play something on one of the TVs, but I don't have the cable is long enough to do it. If I can't do it, I can't. People joining. We'll talk to
Right.
That we need to plug. Oh, you know, it might be using the phone as the mic, you know. Oh, see there, see there. It's an extra screen. It says pop up. Like the mirror screen. It pops up the option to mirror the entire screen. So I said, yes, mirror the entire screen. Hold on, let me start. I don't know, so they just switch it on and I said, yes, mirror the thing. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, mirror the thing. Okay. No? Perfect. Yeah, you know. I've not want to play specifically. Again, three videos I want to play, but after he the TV guys talk,
Evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening to you all. All correct. First of all, let us stand for prayer. Please stand. Let us pray. Father God, in your son's name we come giving you thanks for allowing us to be here, God, and meet the situation in our islands. We ask you, God, just to allow us to be focused on today's presentation. Managing the country, providing and protecting our families in the various islands of God. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
You may be seated. Thank you all for coming out to our monthly Consul General Distinguished Lecture Series. Is there anyone here for the very, very first time at one of these lectures? Wow. That is awesome. That is awesome. That's awesome. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. While I'm saying welcome, 1 second. I'm going to call Mandy. Is Mandy around? She's the director, executive director of this Island Space Museum, and she's coming with the welcome. She welcome. Oh, not Mandy, Khalid, rather. Khalid, and I'm saying the right time and the wrong person. Khalid. Yeah, all the time I do this.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Thank you so much for being here. Did I hear that everybody in the room has been here before, basically? Oh, no, okay. And that's not what it is then. But if it is your first time, welcome to Island Space. Thank you so much for being here with us this evening. Thank you to our Consul General, Oliver Mayer, for doing this with us for the past, how many years now? Almost 3 years. Island Space is going to turn 5 years old next Sunday, which is on the, you can give me a round of applause. On the day of our Rum Cake and Black Cake Festival, that's one of our signature events. I see one of our singers here in the room who is always with us at the Reggae Genealogy Music Festival that's coming up in February. If you're just interacting with Island Space for the first time, this is what we do. We interact with our community. We represent the Caribbean on stages like this. We bring in the best and the brightest. Where's Mr. Mullins? Hiding somewhere. He's around the corner, right? We bring in the best and the brightest to share information, to educate, to entertain, to bring Caribbean culture out into the community with our signature events, or to bring folks inside of the museum to learn about who we are and how we excel in the world. So I will not stay up here too much longer. I will share with you that we have multiple initiatives going on. So you came here this evening to learn about how you can invest into the Caribbean. Right now, hurricane victims and relief is the priority, and all of our resources should be focused there. When things calm down, I ask you to look at Island Space as a place to also invest and support. We are the arbiters of Caribbean history and culture. In South Florida, we are where you bring your children to learn about your own culture if you cannot travel back home, wherever that is throughout the Caribbean. So please continue to interact with us. Please come back and visit. Please come to another event, bring friends, send friends, and we hope to keep in touch with you as time goes along. Please enjoy the evening and have a good
Thank you, thank you. So what happened was I asked Mandy to pray, and she so what did you call it? Okay, awesome. You know what? I'm just going to go right into the program because we have a busy afternoon. So I'm going to ask each and every person to stand with me and put our hands together for the most honorable Oliver Mayor, our Consul General. I just go back to my colleague. I am going to ask you to stand and put your hands together for our honorable Oliver Mayor, our Consul General of Jamaica.
I traded in two weddings. Let's put it up for Sir Mark Reynolds. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to go straight into it. For those of you here for the first time, this is our monthly series. We bring the best of the best to share on a particular topic of interest to Jamaica, Jamaicans, and people of the Caribbean region and people of the world. But it's a good opportunity for you to come and engage. So once you have come, your name will be on the mailing list, and so you get an invitation to a monthly engagement. We have just had a major hurricane that has hit us, one of the most powerful weather systems of all times. And for the next 2 to 5 years, Jamaica is going to be in a rebuilding mode. And David, we already had David Mullins to speak, and you're in for a big treat. But we couldn't just go right into that this evening. I wanted to quickly share about how you can support Jamaica at this time. There are 3 main ways that you can support. One, you can donate your time and effort in some of the volunteer activities we have taking place at Food for the Poor and at Global Empowerment Mission. The lady reached out to me a while ago and verified about the times. It's Monday through Saturday, so you were actually correct. They will vary the Sunday from time to time, but Monday through Saturday, you can come out from 10 to 5 in Doral. So just Google Global Empowerment Mission, and you can volunteer your time. We have close to 500 persons that come out and volunteer on a given day, especially on the weekend. All right, so you won't be alone, and you'll feel very good knowing that you're giving back. to an extremely worthy cause. The second way that you can contribute is you can drop off relief items. We have over 50 drop-off points right across the southern United States, and it's building every day. Every day, I think Island Space will now become a drop-off point, right? As I speak the word drop-off point, people say, they raise their hand and say, I want to be a drop-off point too. So you can drop off some of the relief items. And the third way, you can actually make a contribution to rebuilding effort. It's estimated that cost to rebuild will be close to $8 billion US dollars. So when you think about it, the United States is still recovering from Hurricane Andrew, 1992, Katrina, Sandy. We have to be patient with Jamaica. This is 7 days after the hurricane, and it's going to take time. A lot of roads still blocked, a lot of communities still marooned, and we need all hands on deck. So I'm not going to further more than that. Just to say, you should follow my Instagram page, Mayor Oliver. I notice, sometimes when I speak here, this group might be a little bit more Facebookish. So feel free, follow the Facebook page as well. The consulate pages for regular updates. And see how you can get involved. We need all hands on deck. We will be having the first of our relief concerts, the gospel concert taking place on December 6th. We'll be doing it with Bishop Fernandez, and you can listen out for more information on that. And we'll have more of those efforts taking place. So that is it for now. You can visit our website at www.jamaicacgmiami.org. In every adversity, there's always an opportunity. No matter how bad it seems, there's always an opportunity lurking. And so, even as we deal with this major disaster for Jamaica, the mindset we bring to it is very important. We have to have the mindset that we can make this an opportunity for us to rebuild and build better, build Jamaica better. There are many structures that are torn down, but it's an opportunity to build back with exactly what we want. All right? I'm sure I've stole some of what David is about to say. Anyway, I'm going to go into David, you're going to have somebody bring up our migraine. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, he didn't pay me to say this, but years ago, we had an outreach program with PICA. Ironically, it was just before COVID hit 2019. I laugh because I get a bring up right after the disaster. But we had an outreach program at Lauderhill, and I heard this young man speak about investment opportunities in Jamaica, and not to set him up too much, but I believe that David Mullins is one of the finest speakers I've heard share about opportunities in the region. And I'm not sure how he took his presentation this evening, but we invited him to speak about investment opportunities, to speak about Blue Hope. And really and truly, I believe that Jamaica still represents one of the very best places that you can invest in. And David Mullins will present to you some compelling reasons why now is the time to invest and how you can pivot during this hurricane season. Son of the soil, a leader in the community, somebody who not only is a successful businessman, but he gives back. In fact, he just made a very big contribution to the relief effort. He did $5 million in terms of relief supplies to Jamaica. Jamaican dollars. Can you give him a round of applause? How do I know? because he had to pack in his own boxes and load in the container, right, with his nice big Blue Mountain sticker, right? But this gentleman supports all the major activities in the community. He's a stalwart and has been a fierce defender of the Jamaican diaspora over the years. And after I big him up like that, you have to sponsor my next 4 or 5 events. Ladies and gentlemen, a gentleman in whom we are proud, Mr. David Mullins, please give him a big round of applause. CEO of Blue Mountain Capital. Thank you very much, CG. I know you have an event to head after, so thank you for gracing us with your presence. Thank you for the lecture series that you do every single month because it makes us smarter. And it's not just a Jamaica lecture series again. It's all about the Caribbean. And that's why it's an island space, Caribbean music. Respect. And we should be very happy he didn't start singing. What, we're pretending that I'm coming? Okay. Why are you taking the picture?
Yeah, put your name up.
Every twice a week, ladies and gentlemen, we have a Zoom call with hundreds of persons from the community. I invite you to be a part of it, where we give you updates on the relief program that we're doing with the hurricane and how you can be a part of it. And we have speakers from Jamaica and some of our donors being a part of it. I invite you to join in. Janice leads that call, and the next one is Tuesday. So please be prepared to join us for that. All right? Thank you. Thank you very much, Fiji. So I'm going to start with 2 videos that I want to play on the screen before we go into the actual presentation. And I know, obviously, we have a lot of Jamaicans today, especially with what's going on right now. And I wanted to play something. In the past, we played the Jamaican national anthem. But I want to play something else that I feel is almost as good as our anthem, but we might not have heard this one in a while. I pledge my heart forever to stand upon the side. With shining hope and ever, I pledge my heart beside them. I thought it shall live by my strength, my love, and my loyalty to give. Oh, be my me, nothing but strong and free. All vows and loyal promises, all that we do. I pledge my heart fixed and bound as God, and it shall be my strength, my love, and my loyalty to give. Oh, we can strong and free. All round and loyal promises, all that Jesus will be. We actually have someone who could sing that for us. One more video, and I get invited to actually watch this entire podcast that's on YouTube on Black and Borderless. It came out 3 weeks ago, and they did an incredible intro, and I just start using this to introduce myself from now on because I think it explains a lot about my journey.
What do you think of the Caribbean? You think vacations or investment? We all love the Caribbean, but what does it mean to own a piece of it? Meet David Mullins, CEO and founder of Blue Mountain Capital. Born and raised in Jamaica, now based in Florida, David is building a bridge between the Caribbean and the global diaspora, one investment at a time. He started with a simple question: If others see profit in the Caribbean, why can't we? That question sparked a mission to make it possible for everyday people across the diaspora to invest in the region's growth. With Blue Home Capital, he's opening access to projects in real estate, renewable energy, and private equity, creating opportunities that keep wealth circulating within the Caribbean. For David, it's more than business. It's legacy. He's proven the Caribbean isn't just a place to vacation, it's a place to invest, innovate, and build generational wealth. This is a story of how one Jamaican visionary is turning pride into progress, capital into community. Check it out on this episode of Black and Borderless.
I really enjoyed doing that interview because it wasn't just about Jamaicans. It was about the Caribbean. It was other people from Africa who they've interviewed. And you know me, I am trying to be a very good ambassador for our small island and our small region, ultimately small. So now we're going to go and start this presentation. First and foremost, I need to know what other islands are in here because this is not just a Jamaica investment event. I know there's probably a lot of Jamaicans in there, but what other islands we have? Haiti, that past day. And remember, Haiti was also hit by Hurricane Melissa. It seems to be a lost in a lot of the media that is Jamaica, but Cuba and Haiti were also hit. And we need to make sure that we remember our brothers and sisters, our cousins. It was a Jamaican that helped Haiti with their freedom. I remember learning that for CXC to South Global Tour and Bookman. And we have a fellow here who uses the name Bookman sometimes, or used to, right, Gavin? You still do the Bookman. So I love this. So we have Haiti in the building. Anywhere else in the building? Well, Bahamas in the building. Bahamas in the building. You make it safe. You make it safe. So this is actually. And they got it too, right? How many islands are in the Bahamas? Most of us don't recognize how many islands. 700 islands. So they get catch again. Right? The Bahamas has been hit. When we talk about it was Abaco in the past, Dorian. Right? We talk about hurricane relief efforts to Jamaica right now, Haiti, Cuba, Bahamas, but they had Dorian before, which caused significant damage. We had Barbuda in the past. Massive damage. I think 90% of the houses were damaged there. And we've had these problems and we will continue to have these problems. So how can we invest going forward to ensure that we build climate resilient buildings, that we invest in ways that we don't worry about those issues as much? And so I had to adjust this presentation. I had very specific things, even investments we were going to make this week and announced tonight, and we canceled those investments instead, and we channeled them somewhere else. So before I get into this little speech I have to start and then the presentation, I need to recognize my team who is here tonight. That's the first thing. So my brother and my chief operating officer, one of my first 5 investors, Robert Mullins, is here. We have Mr. Bahamas, Kevin Burrows, my chief investment officer, flew over just for this event. Thank you, Kevin, for being here. We have my chief of staff, Cheryl Stewart. You would think Cheryl lives here, but she's wherever I have. She actually lives in Texas. But she has been a trooper in what she's been helping us with. Tanya, most of you know Tanya Ferrando. Tanya is our investor relations specialist for retail. He helped put together this. Usually you call her, not me. She's the person actually speaking. You call the 1-800 number. Tends to be Tanya that's going to answer. It's not me. I'm a bit busy trying to do some other things in most cases. We have David Yard here. David is our brand architect to keep up our brand. So when you see all these logos and the graphics, David is that person. I have to shout out someone who is very much part of the team, but not officially. Sean Roberts in the back here. Sean is the one who came up with all this. These step and repeat banners or the way the streets are support. This is all Sean. This is all Sean's idea. We've known him since 2001 when he was part of Student Entertainment with Stages. That's how far back we go with him. So I want to thank all these people. I have an honorary guest in the room. She's there with her camera. She's really invisible tonight. It's Hannah. This is a South Korean out of Sweden that used to teach Jamaican dancehall moves, still does. And she's here for the weekend, following me around to make sure we get visibility about Jamaica and Caribbean. So big up Hannah. Can't wait for most of dance on Saturday night. Because we need to raise some money for a relief effort. Where? Where? Oh, Jesus, what's the name? What's the name of the venue that the party is at, Tanya? University of Miami. I'm the president-elect of University of Miami's alumni board of directors. Lalos is where they're having a Caribbean alumni party this Saturday, and we have some guest DJs, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Tanya wants to say something because we have something that's happening on Saturday, so she's going to talk about it. I knew it.
Hi. We also have a car wash, and my friend owns a car wash and oil change place, and we're doing jamming for Jamaica, and it's on Commercial Boulevard. We have flyers around that you can look at, and please come and support. Blue Boho will be there, our tent will be there. I'm doing 3 soups, and we're doing boiled corn, and there will be a food truck there as well. And it's from 9 to 9.
By the way, if you notice, Tanya's hair is blue. So we'll get to that. The reason her hair is blue is that she dyed it blue and said it will not be dyed another color until we list on the NASDAQ. So that is why her hair is still blue. That is the kind of dedication that we have in our team. So I love starting with some little story. I like asking people to see if they ever know something. This one is going to be Jamaica specific, not Caribbean specific. So let me see how many Jamaicans in here know this story. We have the outpouring of love to Jamaica in particular right now. But how many of us know about Berlin Wall and Bob Marley? I got the chance to live in Berlin for 4 months. And I never forgot when all these Germans kept coming to me anytime I'm wearing a Jamaica jersey. Hey, Bob Marley, you saying about weed? That's all those 3 things in that corner. It was in that corner. And they said, did you know that when the Berlin Walls fell, we all spontaneously started singing one song? That everybody say one love. I love when Jamaicans say that it's not one love. They started singing 3 little birds, every little thing is gonna be all right. The Germans started singing a song from the Caribbean. That is how Talawa we are. That is how far our culture goes. So remember that we're big, small island, but we're really big. And Guyana, Belize, Suriname, I know you're not islands, we're part of character. We call it an island, just like. So Bob Marley said that the greatness of a man is not in how much wealth he acquires, but in his integrity and his ability to positively impact the people around him. And we need to keep that in mind. I'm not doing this to create some insane amount of wealth for myself or for the team. It's about having positive impact. Everywhere we invest, positive impact with everyone we get to invest in. That is why we do it. But it takes cash to care. I say it again, it takes cash to care. And somebody told me this when we were talking about what should we send to Jamaica. I said, David, cash can't spoil. You can send me some milk, you can send me some juice, cash can't spoil. So if you're going to donate, don't rush to Walmart and Amazon to buy stuff to ship down. Send some cash so they can buy stuff locally, because a lot of the stuff is already locally. They're targets locally. Go and buy out LPSR and get it to who you need to get. Cash can't spoil. And I really like it. Every one of us from the Caribbean is an ambassador for our country and our region, whether or not we want to be one. The minute we open our mouth, they know where we come from, right? She said Haiti, and I immediately heard that accent. When I get in the car and somebody picks me up, we can tell, we have an inkling, oh, you have an accent, which island you come from. People notice that. They know the Bahamian doctors and the Jamaican nurses and the people from all over the place. They know that sing-songy Trinidadian accent. We are ambassadors whether or not we want to do it. So every time we interact with people, we have to remember that it's not going to reflect on just us. It reflects on an entire region, 30 plus million people. So keep that in mind when we do that. But our culture is our greatest export. That is why people look at us that way. Our culture. It's not tourism, it's not stunty and stand. It's our people that actually are our biggest export. Everybody knows us for something, whether it's conch in Bahamas, jerk chicken in Jamaica, doubles in Trinidad. They know us for something that's culturally related. Our music, our sports, that's all culture. Our dance, in all the different islands. Keep that in mind. And we have not actually invested in that stuff as well as we should. And I remember I saw that the former mayor of New York, Michael Bloomberg, said that culture is the gateway to capital. Notice this lecture series is in a cultural heritage place. Island Space Caribbean Museum is the only museum of its type in the entire United States. The only one. This is our culture. And that is why people are rushing to donate and support Jamaica, Bahamas, Haiti, Cuba. It's culture. They know us because of it. I want to make sure that we understand that I am here today in this country because my family owes a large part of our success to Jamaica, to how I was raised, to where I was raised. And never forgot being at the University of Miami. Robert was there the year below me, and we had a little bit of loggerheads with African American students. And I couldn't understand why. I said, hey, we have to have a come to Jesus movement. Let's go and do an event in the UC. We're going to have two panels, two sessions. We're going to talk about Caribbean Americans and Black Americans and try to get to the bottom of it. I remember asking the Black Americans, why do you have a problem with us Caribbean students? We don't do nothing. And they said 3 problems. Number 1, you come here and take our scholarship. Number 2, you come here and take our men and our women. And number 3, you act too white. And I said, excuse me, number 1, we don't get your scholarship. We have to fight with the rest of the world for international scholarships. We don't get your scholarships. Please get out the table. Can't talk about the man or woman because if them like our accent, not my fault. Your problem, not my problem. Last one, we act too white. I don't understand. What do you mean by that? And I said, oh, you speak properly. You dress white. You act white. I've never heard of. Do you realize we're a former British colonies? We speak the Queen's English. We got independence in 62, 65, 67. That's not acting white. That's just the way we were raised. If you want your pants jumping off the bottom and showing your underwear, that's your problem. That's not how we were raised. And so they said, well, we will listen to that some more. And we obviously come here and tend to look down a bit on them because we feel that they live in the land of plenty, the land of milk and honey, and they're wasting their opportunity. And I asked them, I don't understand. We fight to come to this country and you're wasting the opportunity. And one person said something that changed the way I look at them for the rest of my life. I said, David, you don't understand. You are lucky to be born in the Caribbean. I said, excuse me? I said, you are born in a country where you saw Black leaders, Black politicians, Black bankers, Black investors, Black lawyers, Black police commissioners. They all look like you. You had dreams for what you could be. I'm born in a country where I was told I was less than this whole time. And when I look at who has done well, they're athletes, they're rappers, and they're drug dealers. Those are my 3 role models. You are lucky. This whole time I was thinking I need to get to America, and this person is telling me you are lucky. And I stopped looking down on them and started realizing that I shouldn't feel sorry for them, I should have empathy for what they have gone through and recognize there's a different trauma over here. And we need to invite them to come to our region. You don't need to go to Ghana and Ivory Coast and go to the door of no return. Just come to the Caribbean and see how we did, the land of all the slave revolts. And you'll feel proud. That's what you want to do, come to the region. We have not actually gone after that tourism market as much. We really need to look at up with that. So I think all of us in this room have been planting seeds. We've all been investing back home in some way. We've all been donating back home in some way. Those seeds take time to grow. That's how investments work. It's not tomorrow. It's not next week. It's not even next year. For 10 years. And we here love mango. I thought let's get more hands. We here love mango. All right, great. What's your favorite mango? Bombay, she said. Bombay mango. Bombay. I did not expect to hear that answer. I was expecting East Indian. Julie, she said Bombay mango. So if you get a Bombay mango, you eat it to get the seed. Leaves off, you plant the seed. The mango tree going to grow tomorrow? It's going to grow next week? It even grow next year? It might be going to bear next year? Okay, so from a plant the seed, Do I keep digging it up every day to check on it and see if it's growing? I'm going to dig it up next year. Am I going to shout at it and complain to it, say, oh, you're not growing, you're not bear, want you? But the day it start bearing though, holy mango on there. And some people might try and thief the mango. So if people want to steal it, it has value, right? And you could sell some of those mangoes and get some cash in your hand, right? Okay, and you could plant some more and get some more mango trees. So if somebody's doing the seed and it's worth money and it grows on trees, then money grows on trees. But it takes time for it to be planted, grow, and bear. That's actually what investing is. It's like planting a mango tree and waiting for that mango tree to start bearing. Most of us have never been taught about investing that way. We're not patient. We think we're going to invest today and money around next week, money around next month, money around by the end of the year. Just think of it as a mango tree. It's a mango tree. Your favorite mango tree, by the way, so Bombay in our case. What I want to focus on today, though, is what our journey has been. We're investing in the Caribbean. Now, I'm going to talk about exactly what we have done, why we have done it this way, and why we care so much about investing in the Caribbean. That's what I'm here to tell you today. And I'm here to tell you to write me a check. And I'm here to tell you what we're doing, why we're doing it, and be very honest and upfront about the pain of what we've done. It didn't all go well as you can imagine, and what has gone right. And get you hopefully to think differently about investing back home. And then getting other people to think differently about investing back home. I want to change your perception of investing back in the region by telling you the reality of investing in the region. So before we go into the slide presentation, there's a quote that I found to be really important. It's in here. I have a set of quotes that I look at every week. And it's from Sun Tzu. And it says that in the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity. And you heard the CG say something along those lines. We have chaos right now with what has happened in the region. There's an opportunity for us to build back better, as the CG said. A lot of us have had a vision for what we wanted our countries to look like. And there have been reasons that those things have not happened. Now we need to do better because we can do better. We can be better. So my lawyer will say I have to put this slide up. Legal disclaimer, you have to read it. I don't need to read the whole thing, but as long as I put it up there and I say it's up there, they must read it. Lawyer will say all clear. But our securities lawyer cares a lot about that disclaimer because we talk about investing. It's not financial advice. I'm not asking you for money. Here's the SEC Act, the Securities Exchange Commission Act that we're using to raise money. So the first question I've learned to know ask the people, who is investing in the Caribbean right now? Tell me, what they look like? You what? China, she's a China is investing in the Caribbean. True. Anybody else investing in the Caribbean? Who runs the airports in Jamaica? We own them, but we lease them. A Mexican company. Right? We've seen people from the Middle East investing in our ports. Netherlands actually is one of the largest shareholders of the port in Jamaica, CMA CGM, with our container terminal there. So there are other people investing. Are they doing it as people? The one cocoa full basket, or they put together the money, pool it into a company, and then go and invest. Which one are they doing? One individual or a company? They pull it into a company, and then the company goes and invests. Okay, so if they are doing that, and we don't, who is going to own the Caribbean in the next 25 years? That is your reason for investing back home. That's actually the reason. So let's learn from them. Why are they investing back in the Caribbean? Are we afraid? Most people I talk to from the Caribbean are afraid to put money back to work down there. Some of us have sent money down there to build our retirement home. When we visit 10 years later and we see 3 blocks, and we wonder where the rest of the block them gone. I will not ask anybody to put up their hand to say they've experienced that, but I think we all know somebody who has experienced that. So there's a trust deficit for us to invest out there. We've seen friends lose money by investing in unregulated financial schemes. Some have invested in regulated companies and lost their money as well. But they're still investing. So why are they investing in this region that we are shunning? So what I would say is you need three things to get excited about investing in a region, a country, or even an industry. Number one, perception must be different from reality. The perception is that small markets equal small profits. But the reality is that there's billions of dollars flowing through the Caribbean. So small islands don't equal small profits. So the perception is that it's not a good place to invest, it's not a lot of money to make. Guess what? But billions are being made, so perception is different from reality check. Number one for the Caribbean. Number two, there has to be a lack of equity capital flowing into that industry, that region, or that country. There's a lot of debt capital flowing into the Caribbean. Do I agree with that? Whole heap of debt. Not as many people are bringing equity investments to invest in companies or farms and elsewhere. When you bring the equity capital, it is hugged and loved and treated special because it's the first money they can lose and nobody else writing that check, so they treat it special. It also means that if there's a lack of equity capital flowing and there's fewer people competing to invest in the business, so you pay a lower price to buy into the business. And if you pay a lower price, it means that the company don't have to make as much money for you to make money. So you want to invest where there's a lack of equity capital flowing. Caribbean check. And lastly, you want a place where inefficiencies are present. You cannot make money in a perfectly efficient market. There's no margin. But it needs to be somewhere where they're willing to become more efficient. So would we say the Caribbean is inefficient? Highly inefficient? Yeah, so if you were to buy into a company right now that needed to improve customer service and you just improve the customer service, and they commit, and the company just did it, you were a little bit more efficient. You think you're going to do better than them? I think so. So invest in those areas or industries or regions that fit those three things. So they are investing there because it's a developing region. And you think about India 20 years ago, the Asian tiger, Singapore, South Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, 40 years ago, right? Road uphill, port expand. Money's being spent, it's developing. Jamaica has been doing that. Bahamas has been expanding. Barbados, Guyana has been investing crazy in infrastructure. But of course, it's not just foreign investors coming in. There are local investors participating as well. You look at Jamaica and the stock exchange, there are 300,000 new retail investors joined the Jamaica Stock Exchange in the 2015 year. That's locals who have never invested in publicly traded companies in history. That's local money going to local-based companies to go and invest. Nobody wants to invest from abroad into a country if the locals don't invest there. The locals not investing there, you need to ask why. So locals are investing. Of course, we all know about the export opportunity of the Caribbean. We know where it is. It is one of the major transshipment hubs of the entire world. It's essentially the fourth node. You come through the Panama Canal, you close your eyes, you run aground in Jamaica. You go from Jamaica, you need to get to the Bahamas, and then you can go up to Savannah, Georgia. We are perfectly positioned as a region for shipping. So we need to make sure that we follow up on that. So infrastructure, domestic driven, and the export opportunity. But of course, it's capital friendly. A lot of us don't think about this. Investors care a lot about this. Kevin will tell you. He's not going to put money into a country if he can't get the money back out. Putting money to work in a country is easy now. Why don't they go to the bank and I can spend it? The day come and I want to get my own money, I sell the company, or I need to send up the profits or the dividends, and they say, oh no, you have to go to this, or we have exchange controls, you can't get it. You can get that. You register your money in the Bahamas with the central bank before you send it in. When you need your profits, you can get your money out. And they have a stable currency. You do the same thing in Barbados, which has a stable currency. Jamaica has been fairly stable recently, thankfully. We have zero exchange controls. I wire 30 million to Jamaica, I can wire back out 30 million US. I can wire 50, 100. We don't have any issues. You want to invest where there is capital, no exchange controls. And then last, then most important, there's this thing called the democratization of wealth. When we think about companies in the Caribbean, they used to be either family-owned businesses, old 100, 200 years, or owned by the government. But we've started listing a lot of these companies on stock exchange and allowing average people to buy into them. It was happening in India 20 years ago. It is happening in the Caribbean right now. So all of us can buy into some of the companies we know. Have we bought into them or not? So I always tell the people, the Caribbean is full of opportunities. You guys can read faster than me, right? Small islands do not equal small return. So this is the most important thing. You want to focus and invest in regions that fit these three things, right? What does the Caribbean look like in 2015? In my opinion, that's what I want to talk about. I have a vision for what I think the region could look like, and I think I have some people here who would agree. My shareholders certainly agree. The team that I work with agree. 25 years from now, what is this region going to look like? So, everybody know what this is, right? These are solar panels. We have a lot of sun. I know Florida is a sunshine state, and we're really behind with solar. In fact, Germany has more solar than Florida. Germany might have more solar than the Caribbean. I think that's shameful. So we need more of this. We need more clean power. We need clean, renewable power. Farming. We have all of this land, but there's this thing called a resource curse. It used to be focused on oil. And you have all this oil you're getting wasted. Well, land, in my opinion, is a resource curse. You have too much land. When Lee Kuan Yew came to Singapore came from Singapore to Jamaica in the 1960s, came back in the 70s, he was pointing out how look at this country has so much arable and fertile land. We in Singapore have to import our water to drink and import our fresh fruits and vegetables. We wish we had that land. So he decided to do something different. And look where Singapore is today. Less than 3 million people in their population, English speaking, former British colony, that got independence, was part of a federation, left that federation. They actually got kicked out. Jamaica left the federation. Singapore got kicked out in the 1960s, and look what they did versus what we did. You know what Lee Kuan Yew says in the book, From Third World to First? I think it's page 245 or 247. He says, Jamaica had all these opportunities, all these advantages based on their location, next door to a major trading partner, one of the deepest ports in the world, the 7th largest naturally protected harbor in the world. Theirs was a culture full of song and dance, hard work they had left behind with slavery. That's what he said, the father of Singapore, who took Jamaica's development plan from Mr. Sangster and took it to Singapore and did that. So they've proven that it can be done. And it can be done with less land than we have in the Caribbean. So why is it that Netherlands and Singapore export more fresh fruits and vegetables than the Caribbean? How do you do it without land? Indoor farming, vertical farming. We talked about pre-elasticity in the Caribbean. If you put it indoor, how are they going to keep it? Serious, how are they going to keep it? Rocking there and keep everything? It uses 70% less water. You can grow 24 hours a day. You can grow all the stuff you need to sell to the hotels. Jamaica, for example, imports over $1.6 billion US per year in agricultural products, especially for the hotels, because we don't grow the romaine lettuce and the little cherry tomatoes they want to the quality that they need. You can control quality like this. Why? Across the Caribbean, where we had rail 10 years after America, first in the English-speaking hemisphere after Canada and the US, railway. And today we're building highways so we can drive cars. Where is investments in public transportation? Who is going to make those investments? And of course, we want our downtowns in everyone, not just downtown Kingston or downtown Nassau. We want all of them to look nice and clean and safe and upgraded. Every single rural town should have a little town center that looks new. Somebody's going to have to spend that money and invest in real estate. We've seen how Winwood has transformed down there. How can we do that without pushing people out in our own country, our little town that we come from? Right? We looked at this one as an opportunity. My friend David Yard put this together. You guys, those are your Jamaicans. Look at this map and tell me if this metro rail map makes sense. You have an elevated rail that would run down Hope Road. You start up a copy between UTech and UA. And then you can go down to New Kingston and halfway through where our transport center goes out to Crossroads, the most important intersection in Kingston. And then you can go to downtown and then it splits out to Portmore and Spanish Town and out to the airport. This is not an original idea. I sat down with our Minister of Transport and Works, Mike Henry, years ago, and I asked him, why don't we have a metro rail like what they have in Miami? Instead of expanding the roads. And he said, oh! And he jumped up from his chair and went to his little cupboard and came back and said, read this. And he gave me a plan that showed how to develop elevated metro rail in the Kingston Metropolitan Transport Region. It had phase 1, 2, and 3, all the costs to do it, every piece of land that they would have to use eminent domain to get, and the prospective fares for each stage. It has never been built. And if we wait on the government to do it, it will never be built. Brightline is here in Florida, now the fastest train in the United States, which is slow compared to Europe and Asia. And it was built with private money. The company that built Brightline is Fortress Investment Group, West Edens. Who built the LNG facility in Jamaica? New Fortress Energy under Fortress Investment Group. We have access to a group that has invested in Jamaica, made billions of dollars. They're going to trade now the state of the art here in the United States. There might be an opportunity there. That's how we need to start thinking. How many of us have watched James Bond movies like Dr. No, Casino Royale, Live and Let Die? Right? What was the last one that came out, guys? What was the last James Bond movie? The 25th James Bond movie that came out. Daniel Craig's last movie. Come, somebody there's a Bond fan, man. But no time for that. The opening scene in Jamaica. Casino Royale in Bahamas. Where are sound stages in the Caribbean? They did not shoot any interior scenes for the James Bond movie or Pirates of the Caribbean in the Caribbean. Why? Because we have no sound stages for them to go and do the films. So our local productions don't even have sound stages to shoot films. All this money comes on there and it leaves because all we do is shoot exterior shots. We need to have sound stages. They're just big empty warehouses. That's actually what it is. Somebody has to invest in that space though. We can't wait on the government to keep doing these things. Our culture is capital. So here's the project that we started. We announced this one last year. One of our investors, one of our shareholders called me and said, David, we want to build some house out of Old Harbor. Our friends built some 2-bedroom houses and they sold out fairly quickly. So you know my antenna, well, antenna is 1, antenna is 2, so my antenna pop up. Really? We mean sold out quickly. Well, phase 1 sold out in 24 hours. Phase 2 sold out in 30 minutes. Can you guess how quickly phase 3 sold out? Instantly? It's like we didn't even announce phase 3. We just emailed the 2,400 people on the waiting list. I said, why did they sell out so quickly? It's because we priced them right. Priced them. The first phase was 17.5 million Jamaican. Essentially 2 times the application for somebody to get a National Housing Trust loan. Right? When they get paid in Jamaica, they take out the equivalent of Social Security, the equivalent of your Medicare, and they take out National Housing Trust contribution. You eventually get enough points and apply to get a low interest mortgage through the National Housing Trust. I used to work at Jamaican National Building Society. I designed mortgages, investment savings product. So I know how this mortgage stuff works. Janice McIntosh is in here. She worked with me at JL in Jamaica. So you would get NHT, and if the house costs more than that, you need to go and get a regular loan from VM or JL or whoever else to go on top. They designed the house price that they only need an NHT. Gone, sell off. So here's what they said. We want you come in and build the 2 bedrooms because Jamaica National gave us the money for the 2. We want you to build the 1 bedroom. We don't want to go to walk up to you because I own shares in Blue Home. Come work with us. Okay, sir. He says there are 70,000 Jamaicans qualified for an NHG loan right now. And we needed 100,000 houses before the hurricane. We needed 1 100,000. After the hurricane, you probably need 500,000. And we need to rebuild them a lot stronger, right? Have to be better. So he says we're going to build 700 houses on 50 acres. So, okay, 700. How much are going to cost? And they said, no, man, you need to raise 5 billion, right? I say, yes, how many houses you can build for 500? What I say? You say you can build 200. So the change in NHG moving from 7.5 million per person to 9 million Jamaican per person. 9 million, it's about 54,000, 53,000 US dollars per person. Up to 3 people can apply. So husband, wife, mother-in-law, them name on it and get the loan to buy the house. He said we get the price of houses at 8 million Jamaican dollars for the first 200. If the house is 10 million Jamaican dollars or less, you get a 100% mortgage from the NHG to buy the house. So I go on one little YouTube show. This lady named Kalila Reynolds. Anybody watch her show, Taking Stock, on YouTube? Kalila is married to Roberta and his cousin. Kalila puts us on the show, and we're going to announce this. A 400 square foot, 1 bedroom. Sounds small. I mean, 2,400 square foot lot with pre-approved designs to expand to a 2-bedroom, and you can go up if you follow certain rules. We don't want a chaka thing, right? We know how that goes. So it's a true starter home, block and steel, ready for solar. So we announce it. No money spent. 281 people have applied to buy the first 200 houses. Every single one of them have an NHG loan. I never forget one lady email. I see all the emails. I got to tell you what I said to them, and she emailed me and said, Mr. Mullings, I hope I'm not too late to apply for one of these houses. I'm a teacher. I've been teaching in Jamaica for 23 years. This is the first time I could buy a house without having a man co-sign with me. We need a house, please. As a man, I have never thought about that. She doesn't need a man to co-sign with her, she needs a house. I personally emailed her and said, I guarantee I will hand over the keys myself to you for that house. Thank you for your email. That is what is going on. So we were planning to build these in Old Harbor. That is where it was going. And now this hurricane. So you can imagine, we post one picture 2 days ago. Hey guys, welcome to the house. It's not like a hurricane. We actually built a model unit, which is the sales office for the 2-bedroom. Yo, Tom, how did things say? Say, oh, see there, boom. Yeah, man, that was fine. That's not the hurricane plan. That was fine. So I want to post that on Instagram. This house has now survived an earthquake and a hurricane and cannot wait to get the money to build 700 and start building more across the island. People message me, one text me. David, my friend wants to donate 5 acres to you in Highgate, St. Mary to build some house. Donate 5 acres. I said, okay, the real estate team needs to figure out the house can actually build on the land. They give it me. I don't know. So was it sloping too much? But they donated the land. Another guy messaged me on Instagram. How much land you need to build a house? I said 700 can fit on 50 acres with this design. The man said, all right, I have some land out in Manchester. I want to partner with you. I said, okay, how much land do you have out in Manchester? Manchester is one of the parishes that got badly hit. I said, how much land? The man said, yeah, man, 1,000 acres more. I was like, but excuse me, sir, then let's go call ASAP. Here's my personal phone number, here's my email address. I will clear my calendar. The man owns 1,000 acres. The more money we raise, is the more climate resilient housing we can build in the Caribbean, starting in Jamaica. It's as simple as that. We don't have to wait on the government to give us some money. We don't have to wait on a pension fund to give us some money in Jamaica. We in the diaspora have more enough money because this house that you see right there costs 25,000 US dollars to build and takes 3 people 30 days to put up because it's a model of construction. There's a machine that puts the walls down like Lego. They put a steel wrapper around it, bolt on the roof, and your house is good to go. And it is built on site in Jamaica. Right there, it's jobs in Jamaica, cement in Jamaica, steel we don't have in Jamaica. We don't have to bring that in. But we get to invest in the economy. It turns out that we need even more affordable housing in the region now. So let us go and build that. So we are focused on bringing in as much money to go and build houses as possible. So why do I think the diaspora has the money? Now think about this. We know this. Jamaica alone, $3.3 billion per year in remittances go back to Jamaica, mainly Western Union, Jane money transfer money. A country of 2.7 million people receive that much money every single year, even through COVID. It did drop to like 3.1. Somehow we still find the money to send down there. Jesus, I don't know how it is, but you know, here's a stat that most of us in here don't know. We don't pay enough attention to the rest of the Caribbean. This is Guyana, a country of 770,000 people. $4 billion a year to back in remittances. What happens if we could just get 0.1% of that in 1 year, just between Jamaica and Guyana? How much house we could have built? How much difference could we make in these countries? We don't even need to go and ask our friends of Jamaica to invest. We could do it. But for us to do it, we need to do what the Chinese did. We need to do what the Middle East has done. Together, a company. Put the money in the company. The company goes and makes the investments. So that is what we have focused on. And it's more than 3 million of us here alone in America of Caribbean heritage. This is not the UK, this is not Canada being added, just here in the United States. So Blue Moho Capital is very simple. We created an investment holding company. It allows us to invest in multiple things. It's not just one thing, it's not just real estate. It's not just buying shares in public companies. We can do a bunch of things. So that's what we created. It's based in Delaware, because everybody's in Delaware. Microsoft, Apple, everybody's in Delaware. They love Delaware. It's very transparent. We created a real estate development subsidiary. Robert is the CEO. We created a non-executive chairman role for someone who has more than 20 years of experience in real estate to help guide what we do. That will build affordable housing in the Caribbean. With that being the first project in Jamaica, we have 3 other projects we're looking at. One is Bernard Lodge with 2 partners, and that's on 50 acres as well, 350 homes. And then we have 114 acres we've been approached to look at Vinyalas, St. Thomas, the eastern side of the island. People are coming to us. And here's the catch. We don't need to buy the land. We partner with the landowner and bring the developer on, and we bring the money. So we don't have to pay cash out to buy the land. We pay to clear the land, pay for the survey, pay for the design, and then build the house. And we can quickly get our return. We have an asset management subsidiary. So we created Blue Moho Investment Management, so we could go and do other stuff. Kevin is our CIO. Kevin used to work for the Adidas family office, but he also used to run a £1.1 billion fund between the UK and South Africa. Insane amount of experience. Former president of the CFA Society of Bahamas. So we're working with him to create an impact investment fund. And we can raise money from some of the bigger players to deploy across the region, Jamaica, Bahamas, Barbados, Guyana being the first 4 that we're really excited about investing. We call them the 4 Caribbean tigers. They're like the 4 Asian tigers. Easy to explain. That matters. Kevin has a firm that we have bought into that already is looking to manage some funds. He's completing acquisition now. And we have also signed a deal that will be announced in about 2 weeks in Jamaica. I delayed the announcement because of the hurricane issue. But we are buying control of a regulated investment firm in Jamaica, regulated by the FSC, already has assets, already has plans. So we can continue to do things in a way that people say it's clear, transparent, and regulated. Regulated by the SEC in the US, regulated by the FSC in Jamaica, and the equivalent of FSC in Bahamas. We want to do everything where I's are dotted, T's are crossed 3 times, because it's 3 different agencies looking at what we do. We cannot afford to mess this up. We get 1 chance to do this right, in my opinion. We want to positively impact the Caribbean. It's that simple. And then we're going to list it on NASA. Right? It says plans to. We go into. We are going to list the thing. We work with some firms that we feel are trusted by the diaspora NCB capital markets, one of the largest investment banks in the Caribbean. Jane Fund Managers, because I used to work at Jamaica National. And we do own shares in some companies listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And so obviously we work closely with them. So earlier this year I did announce our ticker symbol. Our ticker symbol, I was on Bloomberg for the 2nd time. And we announced our ticker symbol as IRI. So we have reserved the ticker symbol. It does not guarantee we're going public. But we have reserved the ticker symbol IRI, and we've been my lawyer texted me today, the ticker is lawyer. the first filing that we need to file went to the SEC today. Because there's this thing called a private placement. When you raise money in America, you have 15 calendar days, not business days, 15 calendar days to file with the SEC to say that I raised money on these terms from this person in this state. And then anybody can go and find that online if you know where to. It's very transparent. So we had somebody wire $200,000 US 2 weeks ago, not even to a week ago, after a 6-minute conversation of Barbadian descent out of New York. The ones I get it, I like it, I am in. I can do between 50K and 200K. Tell me what you can do with the money, and that will determine how much I'm going to give you. When I told him what we could do, in the next 30 days, if he gave me 200, once I get back to you at midnight. Next day, they send me the paperwork signed, and then while the money the following week, it hit. We have to file our first filing today. We have another filing going in next week. So we have launched a diaspora bond. We created our own bond here in the US. We were going to pay 10% interest per year, 5 years, every dollar is used to build the houses. Every single dollar goes to build houses. We're not paying any salaries. We're not charging a management fee. We take the money, build house, sell house, collect the profit, pay the interest. 5 years, every 6 months we will pay that interest. We can raise up to $75 million US per 12 months, and anybody can invest, not just accredited investors. It's under what's called the Jobs Act, Jumps Act for businesses. So retail investors can invest. It's $100 minimum per bond. You can go to bloomerholecapital.com/invest to learn more about it. Every single person in the US could invest if they want. They would build houses, not going to rebuild houses in Jamaica, and then we can spread beyond. We also have agreed to take out an insurance policy on the principal. We invest through the SEC regulated platform. Every principal is protected. Your principal is insured. We did it when we raised money last year for the equity side, we did it with the bond. So it's a principal protected bond. It's an insurance policy. So we're really excited about getting the word out. We're fine. We have a big press release and do everything. It's like, guys, we finally have a bond and we can rebuild housing in Jamaica, and it's climate resilient. Here are the locations that we will start. You know what's going to happen? A bunch of people going to want to buy some of the house quick. The houses are not for us here. Remember when we announced we're building the houses in Jamaica, it's 8 million Jamaican, and one person on our call, one of my investors said, I will buy you 50,000 US right now, cash, and buy one of the houses. I said, the house is not for you. I wanted to buy it and rent it out. So people in the island who need the house. It's for the police officer, the teacher, the nurse. It's for them. In fact, it's too small for you in the diaspora. You need a nicer house that's on the beach for you to retire. Don't worry about that. It's the wrong house to buy. People will want to buy the house. So let's get this done. So why go public? It's painful. It is painful to go public, guys. It's really painful. Why do that? But why I want to be audited? I don't want anybody asking me, why, Mr. Mullins, why you on the team do with the money? Where Kevin invested money? What happened? It's audited. Just look at the audits every 3 months. It tells you what we did with the money. You actually see how much we pay ourselves, what we spend on marketing. You see everything. Audited financial statements give you the ultimate transparency. Transparency is what we've been missing with a lot of our governments. Well, companies have to be transparent. So we get to use our money transparently. It's regulated. When we go public, you want to invest through regulated investment schemes. We've had people here invest in unregulated investment schemes, lose their money, and then complain that them invest at Jamaica in all Indian cash flows and lose their money. And it's been brought up to me over and over and over. And I said, that was not something you're supposed to invest in. It's unregulated. Nobody was trying to stop you from making your money. All the financial professionals told you not to do that. Invest in regulated investment companies or regulated companies. When you buy Apple shares or Netflix or Amazon, they're regulated. Regulations matter. All right. So we want to make sure everybody knows we're regulated, and we have more than one regulator. But most importantly is liquid. The last thing I want somebody to do is come and say, boy, Mr. Mullins, the money there 5 years ago. It's time for my child to go to college. And I would like to get some of my money back. How do I get it? I don't want it after that. I want it to be to open your Morgan Stanley account or your Charles Schwab account or wherever you are, Merrill Lynch. And you just say, yeah, sell some shares or borrow against some shares. It's liquid. You don't need to call us. You bought shares in Apple, you sell them when you want the money, you borrow against them when you want the money. You can see what the value of the shares are. Liquidity matters. But most importantly, I can tell you this one, it broadens the investor base. It's not just friends of the Caribbean and Caribbean Americans that would invest. When it's publicly traded, we'll be the only Caribbean-focused company listed on a major US stock exchange. The only one. We'll be the second majority black-owned company listed on a major US stock exchange. There are only 6 right now. So imagine me sit down in March of this year. They did the Global Climate Finance Forum in Montego Bay and Half Moon, sponsored by one family paid for 50 of us to go there to talk about how you can use finance to help the climate resilience fight in the Caribbean. And I want to make Jamaica the home of that going forward. There's one guy sitting beside me, it's a white guy from California who became a really good friend with his breakfast. And said, David, I run a climate ETF with 150 million US dollars under management. We cannot invest in anything in the Caribbean because they're not publicly traded here in America. But you are going public. We can invest in your company when they go public. We can buy shares. I said to him, okay, but you're a climate ETF. But what we're doing that is climate related. I didn't announce any solar thing. He says, well, you're building these houses. I said, yes, we're building affordable houses. He says, can they withstand the category 3 hurricane? I say, yeah, man. Category 4, category 4, good. He says, well, those are climate resilient houses. Oh, if you sign this piece of paper that says you will not invest in oil and gas, we would do 1 to 2% of our assets under management into your shares after you go public. 1.5 million US to $3 million. And then we will bring you to all of our institutional investors so they can look at getting exposure to the Caribbean through your stock. And if they want private, they can come into your impact fund through the Bahamas. I said, wow. And I will join your board of directors to give you more credibility. Respect here. Thank you. That is what happens when you go public. It opens up a lot more capital sources. If we were publicly traded right now, we could go and raise 100 million US dollars to go ahead and rebuild Jamaica and Bahamas much quicker. We could go and tiptoe into Haiti, because Haiti is not Port-au-Prince. There is opportunity down there. Perception is different from reality in Haiti. That is why we want to go public. So in my head, this was a problem. In 2014, the head of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, Dr. Marlene Street Forrest, had asked me to present at the Jamaica Stock Exchange. David, I needed to talk about how we get you abroad to invest back home, not just send more remittances. I said, why would you ask me to do that? I don't know. He says, well, he served on the Jamaican Diaspora Advisory Board. He writes all these columns in the newspaper every Sunday. And then he worked in banking in Jamaica. He worked at a private fund in America. Just tell me what it would take for you to write a check. And I said, well, it's really easy. We have some fundamental problems we need to solve first. So here's the problem. Doesn't matter if it's Brazil, Botswana, Jamaica, or Malaysia. When you leave your developing country and go to a developed country, you have a trust deficit. We do not trust the government. It does not matter which political party is in power because they have proven to be incompetent in how they manage some businesses here in Jamaica. We can name them. It's painful. But they've also proved to be corrupt sometimes. Some countries are better than others, thankfully, but we generally have a trust deficit. So if they try to do a diaspora bond and not getting no money from us, Israel can do that. They have high trust. India has had trouble doing it. Nobody else has successfully done a diaspora bond, and that's why it hasn't launched out of Jamaica. Are we not giving them the money? Right? There are people who have not given money to support that jail in Jamaica for hurricane relief because they don't know the money going to. They don't trust it. They'd rather give it a charity that's registered in America, that's transparent. Many of us, it's just so you go. We don't know who to trust, who to do business with, who not to do business with. Because all of us have done some business in the Caribbean. Oh, you trust in no man. Gone. Where's the money? Trust problem. It is insanely hard to open an investment account and a bank account in the Caribbean. My gosh, we talk about inefficiency. That is inefficient. They don't want our money. I've had to ask a few times. You know what, money? Is money Margaret saying for you to go and invest? Why is it so hard? I shouldn't have to call a name. I shouldn't have to email you and say, thank you for taking so long. Now I report to Mr. Michael Leachin on how long it took to open this investment account at NCB. Call them, I'm going to lose them job. You shouldn't have to call them somebody's name to get that account. So that needs to change. Inefficiency. We run on island time. CP time, Caribbean people time. Soon come. Soon come. Everything is soon come. There's a time and place for soon come. It's not when you're doing business. The private sector in Jamaica had me down there at a breakfast 2 months ago as a keynote speaker. The week before World Champs in Japan. And I said, guys, it's Thursday. Next week, we're going to shut down doing 100 meter, 200 meter. Yeah, man. No, I could have been doing church and we put it up on the screen and I stopped saying the hymn. Watch. All right, now we're going back to the hymn. That's what they have. That's how we stay. And I said, well, we sit in this room and we laugh at it, but guess what? Next week, we are going to want our athletes to be world beaters and run really fast. It's about time that our businesses want to be world beaters and that we should want our businesses to move as fast as they want our athletes to move. And the place mash up. You know what you go to? Why is it that we want everybody to run fast but business must go slow? Our priorities, right? Why we can't do both? We should do both. So we can be an example. And then, of course, lastly, all of us here, all of us are not accredited investors. We're not all millionaires. You have to be a millionaire or 200,000 US per year, single, 300,000 filing joint, if you want to invest in a hedge fund, in a venture capital fund, or in a private equity fund. And you can only take money from 100 people. The majority of the diaspora is not rich. And know our friends and family back home convert our US dollars into their currency. And we are rich. Our expenses are not in Jamaican dollars or Bahamian dollars or Bayesian dollars. They're not. We're not rich, guys. Sorry, I'm telling you guys right here on camera, we're not rich. We have bills up here in this currency. So how do you get money from the average person? The retail investor is what they call. So I felt the solution was simple. So I'm on stage and I say it needs to be run by the private sector, not the government. That's number one. Number two, it has to be run by someone who goes back home, right, to the home country more often than those who've left and not gone back. Because you need to know who to do business with and who not to do business with. You need to know how things really run back home and how the diaspora things differently. Guys, we're not better than them. We're not smarter than them back home. We just think differently because we have a different lived experience. We have different expectations, especially about customer service. You need to partner with a financial institution that's trusted by the diaspora, trusted outside that country. You need to avoid Bernie Madoff, Olin, Pico, all the man, we have to avoid all of those things. It has happened. Right here in America, let me get burned. We have to avoid that. Where would you set up this thing? You set it up here. Why would you register it in the Caribbean? If I sue you, you run an island time. You're going to take 10 years in the court for us to start out money. I'm not going to sue you down there. I want to sue you in the US, Canada, or UK, where there's an efficient court system. So I felt it had to be domiciled in one of those three countries. That's why global companies register here in the US and go public here in the US. Chinese companies go public here because they want to move quick. We need to be able to move quick. And then lastly, it had to be open to the person with $100, not just a person with $100,000. The average person wants to be able to own a piece of Jamaica, own a piece of Bahamas, own a piece of Barbados, own a piece of Belize. We hear about that one earlier, right? We want to own a piece of it. Everybody should be able to own a piece of all of them. This was like Guyana. Guyana, yeah man, Guyana. Insane growth rate. Second highest GDP growth in the entire world right now. It's incredible what Guyana has done with their oil. I met with the president and he does not plan to waste that oil. It was so funny. Dale Holder set up a meeting for me with the deputy prime minister of Bahamas, the premier of Turks and Caicos, and the president of Guyana. Me run down to this meeting now, thinking, who else in the meeting? It's me one. I meet him with. I said, oh, what do you mean you meeting with me? I didn't come. Okay. Let me tell him about Blue House. I told him what we're doing, and the Guyanese president said, oh, you're building affordable houses, and these are the countries. What do we need to do to move to the front of the list? And I said, no, we're already breaking ground in Jamaica. You can't skip Jamaica. Okay, what do I need to do to skip Barbados and Bahamas and the second? And I say, I don't know. It costs money to do this stuff. You know, we have to find land and put in so on and say, okay, so we give you the land and we build the road and we put in the sewer and we put in the power. Will you come to Guyana next? Sir, I'll be on the next flight. Let's coordinate. I was in Guyana in February. I was blown away. I'm not stupid. That man wants to develop the country. We have to move like the way he's doing it. The man is doing something. Of course, here are the options you could have invested in. A hedge fund. I used to work at one. A private equity fund. So hedge fund typically buy shares in publicly traded companies. Private equity funds buy shares in only private companies. Venture capital funds invest in early stage companies. Facebook before it becomes Facebook and goes wrong. We all know what a mutual fund is, right? A pool of a bunch of companies and just buy the mutual fund, and ETF is the same thing, but more tax efficient. And then lastly, about holding company. So if you want the average person to invest, it means that they couldn't do it through a hedge fund. There's 100 people, you have to be an accredited investor. Couldn't do it through a private equity fund. 100 people, you have to be an accredited investor. Can't do it through a venture capital fund. Accredited investor, 100 people. So we have 3 options left. We could try and build a mutual fund for the Caribbean. We could try and build an exchange traded fund for the Caribbean. We could build a holding company for the Caribbean. Mutual funds are kind of out of step, not tax efficient. So it was left with an exchange traded fund or the holding company. So we spent 8 months trying to launch an exchange traded fund. And the first thing they told us, you have to have a minimum of 20 companies in the portfolio. Okay, we can find 20, that's not a problem. Jamaica alone has 101 plus companies listed on the stock exchange. And says, yeah, that's not going to work. If it's an exchange traded fund to list here on the New York Stock Exchange, each company, if they were American based, needs to be a minimum of 50 million US dollars in net worth. The company has to be worth at least 50 million US. If it's abroad, if it's international, it has to be worth at least 75 million US dollars. And I said, but we don't have 20 companies in the entire Caribbean that are publicly traded worth 75 million. Those companies are private. He said, yeah, we know you have that problem. But even if you solve that problem, you have another problem. You have no custodian for your shares. So when you buy your Apple shares, the way it works, you don't actually keep them in your name. It's not JP Morgan holding it. There's a third party that's a custodian that's independent that actually holds the share. And they confirm that it was bought, they confirm you own it. There's no custodian for the Caribbean, and nobody wants to do it. When we spoke to them, BlackRock, State Street, everybody, and said, boy, David, we love the idea, you know. Jamaica have the best performing stock exchange in the whole world for 5 years, was beating Bloomberg. But it costs us too much money per country to set up the custody arrangement. It is cheaper for us to just do it for Vietnam. That was what it was. It's not worth their time because it costs them. So guess what? That means we can't do exchange traded fund. So we had the wheel and come again. We created a holding company based on Warren Buffett's approach. One company to own everything. You can invest in real estate. You can do private credit and lend money to the companies. You can buy into a private company. You can buy into a public company. It does all of those 4 things. So that's what we went and built with Blue Hole. So this is actually the structure. 2 business units. One is real estate development. It builds affordable housing. And the second unit is the investment management company. It manages funds. It can go out and raise money to go and invest. The investment management company earns fees when we manage the money. A management fee for what we manage, a performance fee for what we do it. Kevin and I mainly run the investment management company. Robert runs a real estate company with the head of real estate. That is actually what Blue is. Most people have never seen this slide. If you're not a shareholder, you've never seen this slide. Now you know what we do. We created a third company in the Bahamas called Blue Caribbean Holdings. If we want to buy something in the company's name, not in a fund, it goes into Blue Caribbean Holdings Limited. The reason we did it in CARICOM is that when you sue somebody as a CARICOM entity to a CARICOM entity, things move a little bit faster and they get treated differently than a foreign company suing the local CARICOM entity. That's why we went and did that. And so Kevin coordinated getting us set up in the Bahamas. And then lastly, big up Kevin. And then Blue Charitable Foundation. So we had always planned to launch this charitable foundation. Marlon Hill is one of our lawyers. So Marlon was going to set it up. I've been taking my time. What is going to be the first donation? What we're going to do? Who will run it? We can't run this. We have to run a business. I run it. Who said that? Who said that? I like this. And then the hurricane came. We had already committed 5 million Jamaican to NCD Foundation and UNICEF for their WASH program for hurricane burial relief. We were supposed to announce it 2 weeks ago in Jamaica. It was Taylor Lee, the chairman of NCD Foundation, who also founded Island Grill. Aldo, who runs UNICEF Jamaica. Me and Michael Leachin supposed to present this big check for 5 million Jamaican towards this project. And the hurricane, by the time it was a storm, so we had to move it to the following week. Well, Melissa decided she was going to take her island time to get to Jamaica. So we have to postpone this thing. Then she turns into a hurricane and turns into a Cat 5 hurricane and slams into Jamaica and causes massive devastation. So 2 days later, I messaged Taylor, what do you need me to do? I said, David, move the 5 million. Don't send it to us here in Jamaica. Can you please give it to American Friends of Jamaica with Wendy Hart? We are putting in some money and Wendy will match you dollar for dollar. 10 million Jamaican dollars worth of stuff will be sent to Jamaica. The plane needs to take off on Sunday. Can you get the money to her Thursday? But Robert's like, wire the money, log in, authorize, wire the money straight to AFJ here. We went to Jem's warehouse in Doral, Florida on the Saturday in Miami to go and meet the volunteers that were packing tarps and water and sanitation, napkin and tin food, all these things. Did our interview, the CG was there, Wendy was there, Robert, myself, and then on Sunday, that plane went off and landed, and then grocery list, Jermaine is here. Come and send me a video and say, oh, you know, say, our truck, I pick up your thing them off the plane, I want to tell people, oh, we know Blue, you know, there's so much thing you send out. And we came up with a project and we say, Jermaine, instead of sending stuff down, could we work with grocery lists to allow people to buy stuff in Jamaica, spend money in Jamaica, help the economy down there, because you know what happens? If you lose your house and you lose your work, wow. If you could spend money down there and buy water that is already down there, buy batteries, buy flashlight, buy power bank. And he said, yes, we can do it. And we announced that last week, where we want to allow people to rebuild with dignity. Spend the money down there, because money can't spoil. So thank you very much, Jeremy. Within 2 hours, responded, David Yale and German got the designs done. So grocery list created 3 hurricane packages that they can buy and get it delivered to your friends and family in Jamaica and confirm that they received it. There are 5 trucks down there, 10,000 cases of water were on standby. Those are the kind of companies we all need to invest in and support. And that's why we have to do it. So this is what's going to happen with Blue Boho. We started with what's called a Test in the Waters campaign, and we got some people to commit to invest. Nobody has heard this one in this kind of audience. Only our shareholders heard this. So with the Test in the Waters campaign, we were allowed to go and generate solicit. We could advertise. So I spent $1,750 to run some ads on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn targeted to a certain age group of people on the East Coast in 10 cities. We all know where we are. In 30 days, I'm going to ask for 2 guesses. If you spend $2,000 on marketing for your business, how much money would you want to come back in? If you just spend $2,000, how much need to come back for you to feel like, you know, this is worth it? Just give me a thing. Do you want 3,000? Fine. Do you want a 50% return? That's a good number. I like that. Anybody else is spending $2,000 What would need to come back for you to feel like this was worth it for me to spend this money? And if the two, she said she didn't get back the two. Because you can go again. And you I like that. At least get back her money. Makes sense. We spent the $2,000 over 30 days. $247,500 was committed to Blue Mohawk Capital. From $1,750. We know we were solving our problem. So we filed the regs here on May 4th last year. When we filed that, the SEC qualified it on May 8th to raise money at $10 a share, $500 minimum investment. When they qualified it, we became the first US-based company in history to have an offering qualified to take money from retail investors to invest in the Caribbean. We made history. And nobody has done it since. We're the only ones. We are going to now file our Reg A offering. And we check a little box that says we will list on a major stock exchange if and when qualified. And it removes this limit. You could only invest $10,000 max if you're not accredited. That will remove the limit and people can invest as much money as they want into the company. And it is insured. There's an insurance policy when you go through the platform. So that is what we're getting ready to file now. We're going through the audit process. And we file with the NASDAQ to go public. To make you understand how much it costs, our PCAOB audit, which all public companies have to do, is going to cost us. We're trying to get the price down. The first quote was $100,000 US. Just for an audit. Just for an audit. This is for transparency. But but this is going to happen. This is going to happen. I was on NASDAQ trade talk twice and I did want to take this picture. It is going to happen. So here is where we are now. Again, stop and open up to the questions. I think it's really important that we think about investing back home in a way that is audited, transparent, regulated, and liquid. I am a very transparent person. Ask whatever question you want to ask here. I have other appendix slides if you need. But how do you get in touch with us? That's the website. We have QR codes you can scan, and obviously we have team members around here. So I'm seeing questions back here already. Mr. Steve, I'll fling up your man. I see another gentleman back here. Steve first, and then we go here in the back. Steve.
All right, not everybody knows about investment.
Right.
And, I remember the stock exchange. This is the fund registered out every month. They deposit in the stock exchange.
Yes.
Similarly, if somebody has that $100, instead $100 per.
No, just $100 minimum. $10 share, $100 minimum per person.
Right. Somebody has $100, right? Anybody have $100 right now? Let me see now.
In the bank account, not only.
Right. If you know what, no, keep your hand up. Keep your hand up. If you know what the next step is, put your hand up.
What kind of trick question?
What I'm saying is that some people have the
Right.
and
And they don't know what to do next. Come and talk to us privately or scan the QR code or if you go to bluemocapital.com/invest.
Where's the door? We're here.
But raise your hands. If you work for Blue Moho, stand up and raise your hand, please. You can talk to any one of these people. You can just look for the blue hair lady anywhere in the world is here. You can just talk to her. If you're on the plane, you talk to her. You know it's her. Right? But this is the Blue Moho team standing. You can talk to any one of them to understand what is the next step. If you want us to come and do a private dinner meeting in your yard, it can happen, but you need to cook some really, really good jerk chicken. If you want us to come, we can do virtual. We've done virtual meetings. We've had people say 10 people on a Zoom, and we went and did a Zoom for them because they want to answer every question that they ask. I get it. Most of us never talked about investing around the dinner table. But some people don't ask questions in front of the audience. They want a private thing. So we will do the private one. I have no problem sharing everything we've learned. You don't need to invest in Blue Home, but you can understand what we did right, what we did wrong. Avoid what we did wrong and save some money. We have no problem sharing because we alone can't invest down there and we alone definitely can't build back Jamaica. All of us need to do something. You can pull your little money up. We happily show you how to do it. All right, question back here.
My point that I want to ask you a question is not related to certain things that is what you talk.
Oh.
I get the background of what you said how you build the house,
Okay.
how much the house is cost. Okay? And I do understand the scheme of going public. And the reason why they want you to go public, because they can capitalize on the disaster situation.
Who wants us to go public?
Investors.
No. We wanted to go public long before a disaster happened. I would disagree with that. We have investors who wanted to invest long before the hurricane ever hit Jamaica or hit Bahamas. I think they don't want to custody the share. BlackRock does not want to create a custodian for the Caribbean. So they actually don't care.
I know it's what I'm saying.
I know, but what I'm saying is that BlackRock does not want to invest in Blue Wall Capital. And they could care less if we go public. So it has nothing to do with the disaster. It's not about vulture capitalists wanting to go down to Jamaica or the Caribbean buy up. They don't care. We're too small of a market. So give me the question.
We as people that believe in helping look at the need. So when you say you build a house, say for example, the man that gives 1,000 acres of land, you made them apart.
Yeah.
The people that are going to need to invest into their house may not can afford 20. You say it costs $20. $20 to make.
25,000 US to build the house.
So what would be the cost on that house per person?
No, but I said the house is sold for $8 million Jamaican dollars, and they get 100% mortgage from the National Housing Trust to buy the house. So right now there are 70,000 people in Jamaica qualified to buy a house, and they're not building enough houses for them to buy. Yeah. Yeah, well, they do that right now. It's a mortgage. It's a mortgage, yes. Yeah, it's a mortgage.
It's this. People that cannot afford. People that cannot afford will not benefit from it. That's what I'm saying.
People who have NHT qualification in Jamaica will benefit from it. Right? That's it. There are people in America right now who cannot afford a house. Are you giving them a free house? No, I'm saying, but there are people in America who cannot afford houses in America because we have an affordable housing crisis right here in Florida, right in Brown County. But how do you doesn't build houses for everybody? And they're not anymore, and they're a charity. So Blue Mahone Charitable Foundation will happily partner with you to collect some money, to build some houses, to give to the people who cannot afford to get one. But the 70,000 people who are qualified right now, waiting for somebody to build a house that they can get. We need to build houses for them. We would like to build houses for them too. But we need more money.
Not everybody understands what the NHT
Right. The National Housing Trust in Jamaica, when you get a W-2 wage, they take out the equivalent of your Medicare, the equivalent of Social Security, and the equivalent of your National Housing Trust contribution. They then invest that money. That money allows them to then give out low interest loans for mortgages to allow more people to own a house in Jamaica. They are qualified, they need it. We want to build some more houses for those who can't afford it. That's where the Tech Charity, and that's where the Charitable Foundation can come in. So it's definitely an opportunity. Khalid.
Kudos because I know David Franklin was making music video.
Your music video. From directing your music video to on the stage, right? Thank you.
We had a question back here. So, and I don't know that it actually pertains. Is it that when someone gets that mortgage, you are paid, or Blue Mahone Capital is paid the entire amount, so we don't have to business withhold the mortgage is being repaid?
That question really does matter. Yes. We build a house and sell it and get all our money right then and there. They will pay NHT for the next 20 years or 15 years. Yes. Build, sell, collect the money. Pay the investors, pay the lenders.
For being philanthropic
Yeah.
and figuring out how to be profitable.
At the same time, we want to do good and do well. If you can actually do good by helping people and do well by generating a profit, we don't need to make an absurd profit. We need to make a little profit so we can stay in business. If you only spend $100 and you get back $100, you will go out of business. You can't pay for the audit. The one you're going to run.
Yes. One thing that mortgage
Boom. Amen. Financial literacy is the number one priority for the Blue Moho Charitable Foundation. We cannot be taking money from people, asking to invest, and then they can't keep the property or they sell the shares too early. They need to understand how to create generational wealth. That is it. We want a bunch of people this Christmas to give Blue Moho shares to their grandchildren and say, you now own a piece of the Caribbean. By the way, you automatically get this financial literacy course for free. You can log on and go through it at your pace and learn what's the difference between a stock and a bond. What is a dividend? All the stuff that they don't teach us in high school, they don't teach us in college, they don't teach us at work.
You mentioned earlier that the investment was insured. And we could talk about FCC insured.
No, all right, so this is interesting. So I mentioned the insurance thing. So a lot of people, because they don't teach us this stuff in high school, in the United States, you typically have two types of insurance. If you put your money in the bank, it's FDIC insured up to a certain amount. If you invest the money and the company is publicly traded, the shares fall under SIPC, SIPC, up to a certain amount, usually 500,000. So the bank is like 250K, and the deposits per bank. And then SIPC is 500,000. We are private, so this is different. When we were filing for the Reg CF last year, they asked us one question. Hey, would you like to buy an insurance policy on the money you're about to raise? All your shareholders, when they write a check, they will get insurance on the principal. Yeah, and I said, wow, that exists. I didn't even know it exists. There's a company called Tiger Mark Insurance. And so we said, yes, we're checking that. We paid the fee, we pay a premium. We got the money, it wasn't insured. If we do something stupid, you get back your money, the principal. I mean, so that's what we're doing again. No, it's actually each investor. This is not up to, say, if you put in 500,000 and up to 250,000. You are a shareholder, you buy $10,000 shares through the regulated platform. That 10,000 is insured. That is how the insurance policy works. Once we saw that, we said yes, because we have a lot of people who never bought a share in their entire life. Let's be honest. Let us make it as least risky, I would say, as possible for them. So, my guy, you want to talk about Guyana, you know. You say it, yeah. Questions on the operational side. So I love this. You work in finance? Yes. What access do you have to statements and prospectuses? Whatever. So I love that. So guess what? Number one, there's no statement. You get the financial report. We're going public. So there is no statement. This is not what is called a separately managed account, an SMA. We don't manage money. You buy shares in the company just like you buy Netflix shares. Netflix doesn't give you a statement. You get a quarterly report they have to file with the SEC, and you can read it. You get an annual report that is filed. You have to have an annual general meeting where you can come and vote and who's on the board and what the company is doing. That is how it's going to operate. But it also means that you can go on any financial website. Just go on Yahoo Finance, once you're public, and you can see all our filings, all our statements, and what we're doing. Separately from that, as you know, the SEC has this thing called an EDGAR database, EDGAR. All of our filings have to be there. Anybody can go on there right now and put Blue Moho and see. You go to the website, you can click the link to see the prospectus that was filed last year and qualified by the SDC. So yes, we have to be transparent. When we go public, it's even more transparent.
And then in terms of the are you able to disclose?
Management of the board. Yes, go on.
Are you able to disclose? Is that something that in terms of investors? You said obviously there's voting that happens, right?
Right.
From the fact that you're not yet public, as an early investor, what access would we have?
So I love that. So the early investors get the report actually goes on the Friday. So we already treat it like we're public. So we send a private quarter report to the investors and say, here's what we've done. Here's our 4 objectives. Here's the key results that we want for this quarter. Here's what happened. Here's what's happening in the next quarter. Here's the performance of the company, the portfolio, the deals we've done, and if we have a new director. We have a proposal that lays out here the proposal members that we have here, the advisory board members for the company as well. Obviously, the reason we haven't made them directors yet is that once you become a board of director for a company, it puts your personal stuff at risk. We have not yet bought DNO, directors and officers insurance, for those people to agree to come on. We have to buy about $5 million worth of DNO insurance for them to join the board because of some big name people we don't want to put them house and their personal thing else. But yes, we're bringing on some serious names that you would know. I'm purposely not going to the slides that have them on there. But we want to make sure people who have been there, done that, run public companies before, dealt with reports, and understand systems and processes required for us to stay public. Going public is easier than staying public. We don't want to be the first Caribbean company to go public on a major US stock exchange and then the first one to be delisted. We can't do that. I like gold medals, not that one. Oh. And the Caribbean.
But the interesting fact that I commented on was the fact that you're building a and definitely the Caribbean needs that. However, we kind of know the mentality that is within the Caribbean. So are these communities going to be deed restricted communities?
I love that one. She said, I need you to be deed restricted communities. Now we don't want to chaka like our corporate start and then people just build whatever they want to build. So yes, these that we build are deed restricted. You cannot just build whatever you want to build. We don't play that game. Yes, we need it to build to a certain time. And that's what I like about the developers being partnered with. The 2-bedroom ones that they've built so far, very much deed restricted. So the idea is that if you follow the restrictions, they're designed and already pre-approved by the parish council so you can build quicker. If you want to something different, good luck. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. You want to put it in the bond or you buying shares in Blue Mobile? 2 different things. The $100 goes into the bond, it immediately goes to go and build houses in Jamaica. The $100 goes into the shares, it sits there until we get to 5 million. I need to be at $5 million in stockholders equity to qualify for this. You want to invest in both, so you have $200. I like that. You need to add another zero. We're really cooking at that point in time. We can help you get to $0. I like that question. I really like that question. Are we only investing in affordable housing or other types of housing? Yeah, in hotels, for example. Are we going to invest in things like farming? So I get to give you some nice announcements today. Thank you. I didn't plan her, by the way. See, this is perfect. So number one, we will invest beyond just affordable housing. But right now, affordable housing is the first focus, especially now we're going to need to rebuild. But we do have an opportunity. We had bought shares in a company in Jamaica called KLE Group, Kingston Live Entertainment. They used to have Fiction Nightclub. They have seen both tracks and records. It owns 49% of that. You see, it is the 6th largest shareholder. Blue Capital today is the 10th largest shareholder in that entity. And we help you see to get it franchised here in the United States. But on top of that, it built a property with Sagicor in St. Maria, right beside James Bond Beach, across from Golden Line. 14 villas, 72 apartments. Built, ready, survived the hurricane, private beach, a river, 2 pools, sold all the units to people. So the 1-bedroom unit was 275,000 US. The villas were 770,000 US, and the place is 80%, 85% sold out. We, Kelly, owns the management company for the property. The properties that the owner put into a rental pool. They get a major company here in the US to put a flag on it and then represent it. So it cannot be put on Airbnb, higher end type thing. And we now get to earn money from the rentals that they put out, and that property will open by the end of this year, and people can start staying there, it will start earning money. Blue Moho will benefit from being a shareholder in that. We want more vessels to be built around the Caribbean. So that is not a hotel, but it is still a resort type property, but we don't own the property, we own the management company for the property. We are not excited about investing in hotels, and I'm going to explain. During the MBA, Robert and I did at the University of Miami, a professor of mine changed the way I thought about investing. He says there are 3 types of companies that they can invest. So the first kind of company is the worst kind of company. It makes perishable goods. You grow the mangoes, pick the mangoes, go market and try and sell them, they don't sell. They spoil, and you lose all the money. Avoid perishable goods when possible. Also, hotel rooms and airline seats are perishable. When the plane take off, you can't sell the seat again. When the night gone, you can't sell the hotel room again. He felt those were perishable. That's the last choice. The next best thing to invest in is durable goods. Time out. Durable goods. So you want to invest in a t-shirt and those kind of things. And then the best one is IP, intellectual property, or culture. So we aren't rushing to own a hotel. We will help finance a hotel though. We make money from it. So I appreciate that. On the farming side, we just actually agreed to buy into a 5-acre farm in Portland. And so we're closing that deal in the next 3 weeks. And that's the first farming deal that we're actually going to own. We just bought a stake in a ginger beer company here in the United States called Uncle Waitlist. Uncle Waitlist is sold in Whole Foods and Target, and they buy the ginger from Jamaica. So we're really excited about investing in farming through that way, from the farm itself all the way to the finished product that's being sold. That's what we're doing. Any more questions? All right, over here. Last question, because we see some food about.
So when you invest in Blue Moho and you reach your target, what's going to be the frequency feedback? The shares are going to be closed for a period.
Now we're going to list. We're going to go public. So we have nothing to do with valuing the shares after that. Let's just close it, list it. Let's see where the share price go. Our job is to keep generating profits, paying dividends to our investors, and that should cause the share price to go up over time. As long as we focus on generating a profit and paying you guys a dividend, the share price should follow based on that. So that is the approach that we're taking to this. So thank you very much for your time. We'll be here all night. You can talk to us privately. Sorry. No. You can tell that is my chief of staff being very clear. I would like to invite you guys, before you leave tonight, you have to take a sip of the Blue Moho drink over here, invented by Mr. Sean Roberts himself. We have a drink, the Blue Moho. Please take a sip. Thank you very much for your time. Please keep Jamaica Bahamas in your prayers. Thank you.
Guys, please eat, enjoy. I don't want to take home any food.
Yeah. Announce the guns. People, on Sunday at 3 o'clock at St. Benedict's Church, we're having a fundraiser concert with the Caribbean for Jamaica. So again, St. Benedict's Church,